Hey guys, it's Bruce here. I am in Las Vegas and I've just spent the weekend at the Wealth Dynamics Seminar, and today I have such an exciting interview for you. I'm here with a new friend, somebody I met this weekend, who I think is going to become a very good friend in the future, and his name is Matt Morris. And before I introduce you to Matt, I want to tell you a little bit about who this man is. Matt has a company called Success University. He is a self-made multi-millionaire, and his company teaches personal development through the internet. And they are the biggest personal development website in the world. They have gathered over 100,000 members in the last 3 years. They are in over 180 countries around the world and have some of the world's top personal development speakers, over 150 of them, myself included, in their portfolio of personal development education. And I asked Matt if he wouldn't mind coming down here and just sharing a little bit about his life, his story, how he became so successful, how he made his millions, and what his company does and the difference that it makes in the world. So get ready for some real kick-ass information. This man really knows his stuff. Matt, welcome. Thank you for being here, and it's a real honor for me to have you interview. Thanks for giving me the time.
Honored to be here.
Alrighty.
Excited about it.
Awesome. So I thought I'd start off by getting you to share a little bit about your background. You were telling me a bit about an interesting story of living in your car.
Sure,
and I kind of got intrigued, and how you came to find your success.
Sure. Well, I, like a lot of people, got excited about becoming an entrepreneur when I was actually 18 and in college, sitting through class, and it's funny. All my professors were talking about, how to get these great jobs and, how to get advanced degrees and really get to the top of the corporate ladder, and it just never resonated with me. I was never excited about having a job. Always wanted to be an entrepreneur and things like that. So decided to jump out, become an entrepreneur, and didn't know anything about business, didn't know anything about success and all of these things, just totally ignorant and but motivated.
Being there.
Yeah, very motivated. But so what happened was, from age 18 to age 21, I kind of reinvented my life. I talk about this reinvention concept, and but my life reinvented from being in college to living out of my car. 21, being homeless, could afford to stay in motel 1 or 2 nights a week if I was lucky.
So you would drive around, sleep in your car 5 nights a week, and 2 nights a week you'd spend your money on a motel.
Yeah, I'd find the cheapest motel I could find. Wow. Always, just the lowest end, and I'd stay there. Now the rest of the time, you can, if you're staying in a motel 1 or 2 nights a week, you have a bathing problem, right? So the rest of the time I would bathe in gas station bathrooms. I'd find these bathrooms that would lock from the inside, and so I'd go in, lock the door, take off all my clothes, get my bar soap, and splash water up in the sink, and that's how I'd take my baths. I'd leave, and the poor janitor, whoever had to clean it up afterwards, there's water everywhere. But so that was kind of how I lived. I was selling above ground swimming pools in southern Louisiana. It was the 2 hottest months out of the year, and just sweltering heat and all these things. I learned that you had to park underneath a tree, otherwise when you woke up in the morning, your car, you'd bake in your car. Wow. So if anyone knows tips to being homeless,
there's a book in there, Tips to Being Homeless.
Tips to Being Homeless. Yeah, someone just gave me another book title, and that's kind of the next. I'll get into that in a second. Yeah. But so it was kind of my version of rock bottom, I guess, living out of the car. And it's funny because one night I had an appointment on the other side of the state. And so I drove, it was late, I pull in and looking for a bathroom because it had been a day or two since I had taken my little bath, and pull into this town, and there's no gas station and no motel. A little bitty town, maybe 1 stoplight in the whole town, that kind of thing. And so I said, well, I'll just wait till tomorrow. I pulled into a church parking lot, and for some reason I always felt safer when I was in a church parking lot than anywhere else. And so I'm laying there and trying to sleep, and I can't sleep because I can smell myself. It's been a couple days, right?
Wow.
So it's raining, raining cats and dogs outside. So I said, well, why not just shower in the rain? So I took off all my clothes. I went out in the middle of the parking lot and
showered freestyle.
And have you ever showered in the rain?
No, never.
You never have. Well, even if it's pouring down rain, it takes a long time, right? Because you don't have the concentration of water. So I look over, and the roof of the church, the runoff.
What is coming off?
It's coming down. And I said, oh, wow, great idea. So I went and showered underneath the runoff and got into my car that night. And I just thought, wow, how have I gotten this low in my life where I'm $30,000 in debt. I'm living out of my car, selling above ground swimming pools, bathing in gas station bathrooms, and showering naked in the rain. And so that was kind of my wake up call. And someone had given me a cassette tape. I'm sure we probably all know Tony Robbins, right?
Totally.
And this Tony Robbins cassette tape that I listened to, and it's funny, I had listened to the cassette tape before, and I guess it just went in one ear and out the other. It never made a big impact. But I listened to it again that night with kind of a new set of ears because I was hungry. I was ready for something to change and committed to making something change in my life. So I listened intensely to that program, and Tony talked about 2 strategies that he used to achieve success, and I related to his story because his story was that he went from living out of a 400 square foot apartment, washing his dishes in the bathtub, to becoming a millionaire, and he did that in like 12 months. He made over $1 million in a year. And so I said, well, I want to do that. So I said, well, how did he do it? And he talked about 2 concepts, and the first thing he talked about was immersing himself in personal development. He read over 700 books, anything he could get his hands on relating to, how the mind worked, human communications, NLP, things like that. And, I said, okay, well, that's a clue, right? Okay. He learned, he just studied success. And then his other concept was modeling. Is basically if you want to achieve success, find someone else who's done it, figure out how they did it, do the same thing, and you'll get the same results. Totally. And so I said, well, at the time I had no vehicle, I had nothing like Success University to plug into and make money with. So because I had no vehicle, I said, well, the least I can do is immerse myself in personal development. So I would spend about 8 hours a day reading books. I'd practically live at Barnes & Noble. Anytime I wasn't on an appointment, I was reading.
That's a bookstore for those of you who don't know Barnes & Noble.
All right. Sorry about that.
No.
And then I would, kind of turn my car into drive time university. So I'd be listening to audio programs all the time. So I just turned off the radio and listened to audio programs. And what happened was I kind of reinvented my life. I believe in life we're either spiraling upward or we're spiraling downward. We never stay in the same place. And so the best way that I've ever found to spiral upward, to grow, is through success education. And so I started reading all these books, Think and Grow Rich, and How to Win Friends and Influence People, and books on public speaking and NLP and wealth creation and all these things. And so what happened was it's interesting, I've never had these huge, overnight successes. For me, it's always been a very gradual process. So from age 21 to 24, went from $30,000 in debt, living out of my car, to $100,000 a year, well over $100,000 a year, being an entrepreneur, traveling around the world. In just a few years. And so that's when I actually came up with the whole concept of reinventing your life. I read this article called What the Cell is Going On. And it talked about how every molecule, every cell in the human body regenerates itself every 7 years.
Yeah, so you got a new body every 7 years.
Yeah, you have a new body every 7 years. And so I said, wow, if your body can regenerate itself, you can surely reinvent the level of success that you have in your life. So I said at that point, I'm going to reinvent myself again, and become a millionaire was my goal. So from age 24 to 29, became a self-made millionaire.
Did I tell you what my company's called? Designer Life.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah,
it's all
Designer
about
Life.
Creating a life by design. It's actually exactly the concept of exactly what I teach.
Yeah.
Anyway, carry on. I just thought it was funny.
Yeah. So no, I mean that's kind of the story of I'm definitely in a reinvention process now, and I think we're all in a reinvention process. We're going to reinvent our life somehow. Yeah.
Yeah. And if we're not, we're reinventing it downwards. If we're not reinventing it up, we're reinventing it downwards in some way, which so often means repeating the past.
Sure.
And one of my favorite sayings with people is like, most people go through life repeating the past over and over and over again, and then the next thing they do is they die.
Yeah.
And unless you're actually reinventing your life, chances are you're going to just be repeating the past.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. The thing I talk about all the time is everyone says they want success. We all desire to have more success in life, but I also talk about the definition of insanity. It's doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting different results. It's just not going to happen. And so many people, and this is really what Success University is all about, is people are caught in this rut of life and they don't get out. And what happens is, because they never take this action, and it does sometimes take a bit of massive action to get yourself out of the rut.
Totally.
And people stay in the rut. They end up what I call, tiptoeing through life quietly so they can arrive at their grave safely. And it's sad that, when there is opportunity, if success is possible, if it's possible and you don't do it, you're choosing to fail.
Get that. If it's possible to be successful and you don't do it, you're actually making a choice to fail. Whereas most people would blame their circumstances and go,
Sure.
it wasn't really my fault. That's a great way to look at it. Yeah, totally.
Sure.
So tell us a little bit about what Success University does. So you had this passion for personal development. You followed Tony Robbins' 2 principles. You immersed yourself in personal development. And the second one was, you remind me?
The modeling.
Oh, the modeling.
The modeling
you started
concept.
modeling
Sure.
what successful people were doing.
Yeah. And so what happened, if I look at most of the successes that I've had in my life, I can attribute those to different things that I've learned. Like, this weekend, for instance, we come to an event like this and we get filled up with knowledge that we didn't have before. And, we were talking about Eben Pagan's course.
The Guru Mastermind, the Get Altitude.
Get Altitude seminar. And I'm just always in this learning process. And so, I go through a product like that and I learn so much, and I just apply 1 or 2 things that I learned in this program and, experience much more success in my life. And so what I found through the network marketing industry was my vehicle that I used to earn a 6-figure income, and then started an internet marketing company that generated several $1 million.
So that was between 21 and 24 when you earned the first $100,000 a year. That was through network marketing.
Yeah, it was through network marketing, and then I continued. From 24 to 29, I was always involved in network marketing and became a leader. And one of the things that I figured out was, so many people concentrate on learning all the ingredients of the product they're selling, or they want to learn how to, structure their business or recruit or do all these things. And, while there's definitely some value to learning those things, what I always focused on was building people here. And so if you build the belief systems and the mindset and all that, if you build people here, they build the business. They have success. In fact, I was talking to an owner of a network marketing company out of Mexico in the event this weekend, and he was saying the exact same thing. The biggest challenge they have is not teaching people how to recruit or build a business. It's always the mindset, the belief system, the confidence.
Totally, and that's exactly what I'm all about, is building people's mindsets and belief systems. And I think the one thing people don't realize is that your mindset can transform in an instant. Because for most of us, our mindsets were created in an instant. Something happened, we made up some kind of interpretation or meaning, and a split second later, that was us, done for life, cooked in the oven, the pie baked. And until you kind of have some kind of interrupt in your life. And the thing I try and get across with people is that you don't have to wait till you have this disastrous experience for your mindset to shift. There are actually techniques and tools through personal development to shift your mindset without all the pain and effort and struggle and hardship.
And the easiest way I know to do that is through the personal development industry. And so I got to a point in my life in my late 20s where I had hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank and had done all these great things and had helped people achieve success. And I said, well, gosh, I live this amazing life. I love my life, but I'm still, I'm not living the ultimate expression of who I am. And I started creating a personal mission statement, to enjoy and give to others God's gift of love, happiness, and passion. So I said, well, if I've basically invented this great life for myself, and if I could have any life that I wanted, what would it be? And that was really how Success University kind of came about, because I was drawing all these things out on paper, doing goals and all that, and I said, well, what am I passionate about? Well, I love network marketing because it's the only business vehicle, financial vehicle I know of to take someone who no education, no experience, anyone, no matter where they are, put them in a vehicle, and with desire, passion, and hard work, they can earn an amazing income and live an amazing life. Never found any other vehicle that provided that opportunity, and so I said, I know I want to be involved in network marketing. And then the other thing was, the thing that made the biggest difference in my life, and the biggest difference that I was ever able to help other people with, was simply exposing them to the reality of what's possible, and that was done through personal development. And it's interesting.
Say more about that when you say exposing them to the reality of what's possible. What do you mean by that?
Is, so many people have these misconceptions that, success is extremely difficult.
Okay.
And we run all these stories in our head, and many of us live our lives like, 7-year-old or, 10-year-old boys and girls, right?
Totally.
We make up things in our life that we're not smart enough.
Yeah.
Or,
We're not good enough, or
we're the
deserving
wrong
enough.
color, or,
We're
the wrong
middle class.
religion, or middle class, or whatever it is. And those are all stories. The word beliefs.
Yeah.
You look at the middle three letters. What is it? L-I-E.
L-I-E.
Lie.
Oh, I gotta steal it. Can I steal it?
You can have it. Yeah.
Where did you get that from?
I stole it from, I think, Tony Robbins.
Oh, that's brilliant. I love it.
So these belief systems are all lies that we make up in our head.
Yeah.
And, we run these stories, and now, we'll be honest, right? The belief systems, they're ingrained pretty deeply, right?
Yeah.
And so it does take some doing sometimes to change these. And but that's it. It's waking people up to the reality that whatever limiting beliefs that you have are really just lies that you've made up about yourself.
Yeah.
There's no truth. There's no reality. There's no basis, because for every person who believes they're too young, you can point to a young person who's become a multi-millionaire. In fact, last night I was watching CNN, and they had this guy, Dr. Farah Gray. I don't know how to say his first name, but became a millionaire at 14.
Wow, doing
14. Real estate.
Wow.
And other things. I don't know what it was. I just he's in the real estate market now. I don't know if that's what it was, but so no matter what the excuse is, and it's funny, there was a network marketing company back in the late 60s, early 70s, and one of the largest personal development companies, or largest network marketing companies in the world at the time, doing $300 million a year. And there was a story I heard years ago, made a big impact, but a guy came to an event and he was skeptical, and he was saying, network marketing, they're always telling people they can do it and they can achieve success no matter who you are. Well, look at that guy. And, he pointed to this guy who was a hair lip and had this, you could barely understand what he was saying, and, was wearing this goofy red suit and just looked like a goofball, right? And he thought, that's
no
a guy.
way is this guy
There's no way this guy
will ever be successful.
is ever going to be successful. And then, so, come to find out, the guy that he was pointing to was the owner of the company. The owner of the company.
$300 million a year company.
And
Wow.
so, it's...
I get it.
So you can, all the excuses people have are really just lies, because that's just the reality, And so that's waking people up to the reality of what's possible.
That's
sure.
awesome. Well,
and so Success University was created to wake people up and to provide the same mentors that I had access to. The Zig Ziglars and the Les Browns and the Jim Rohns, all of these speakers who made such a profound difference in my life. I said, wow, if we can get their information out to the world in a way that no one's ever done before through the power of the internet, then I believe we can transform lives on a massive level.
Yeah.
And that's our mission statement. It's pretty simple: to transform lives through education.
And you certainly are. I mean, I was sharing a story. I was in Africa a couple of months back and bumped into this young black kid who you would see on the streets, probably begging for money at a stop street, And here was this kid, and he actually recognized me from watching one of my DVDs, working at a coffee shop. And I said to him, well, how did you find out about me? He said, well, there's somebody who introduced me to this company called Success University, and they give me all this amazing education. And and what I think is amazing about what you're doing is not only are you educating people, but you're empowering people to make money. There's actually an income opportunity attached to it. And this kid was making money and working his part-time job and making money through Success University, and it totally transformed his life. I could see the grin in his grin was this wide. I imagine this pitched black face with these big white teeth and these 2 diamond earrings in each ear, and he must have been 18 years old, and his life was going, I am going on the road to success.
Yeah.
He was so fired up by what you guys have done. And I think it's just awesome. And I've looked at Matt's side. In fact, I'm a Success University member myself, and I'm actually on the faculty as well, so I teach as a part of Success University. And I remember the first time I got introduced to your site, and I went round to my friend Ketan's house, and he showed me around the site, and I was just blown away. You must have, you've got it'll take you 5 years to get through all the content they've got in the site, and for like, I think it's like $50 a month.
Sure.
You know,
Yes.
if that's in dollars, US dollars. It's just peanuts. I mean, it's amazing what you're doing and the difference you're making. And I know you contribute to charity as well.
We do. Feed the Children became a partner after we were in business about 6 months, and we thought, well, you know, the vision of Success University, and that was really kind of how Feed the Children came in. And this really, hate to make this interview too long, but part of in the creation of Success University was coming out with not just the vision for my life, but what is a vision for the world. And so, I told you I wrote down all these things that I wanted for my life, and I said, well, how can I expand my vision? How can I make that a bigger vision? And so I said, well, if I can live in any world that I wanted to live in, what would that world look like? And one of the first things on the list was that no child would die of starvation.
Wow.
And so that was just a natural fit, working with Feed the Children. So for every student who enrolls in Success University, we donate enough to feed and educate a child for a week.
Wow.
So something small, but because we've enrolled so many students, we've been able to make this massive difference.
100,000 students close to now.
Almost 100,000.
So you're close to feeding 100,000 kids.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes.
Can you get that?
It's
This
exciting.
man is feeding 100,000, almost 100,000
We are.
kids. I mean,
Not this man, but we are.
No, but I mean, we are,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I say this man because it's what I wanted to get across was your vision. There's a powerful distinction you just shared, and this is something we heard about this weekend at this Wealth Dynamics seminar. It's something I teach in my Design Life seminars, and that if you really want to become successful, you've got to create a big goal, and not only a big goal, but a big goal that includes and adds value to others. And if you can take your passion and add value to others, which is exactly what you did, took your passion for personal development, spread it thick and wide throughout the world, adding value to now almost 100,000 people, you not only make a big difference, but you gain momentum to grow your business at a rate of knots. And I know it's not only you that's doing this, your wife's involved, and you've got a whole team of people, and the people who promote the business, the students promote the business because they get so much value out of it. You know, there's a lot of people involved in it, but it's your vision that started it, and your vision for making a difference and touching others' lives. And that's what I want to really commend you on and say, I mean, it's awesome, and you're a really shining example of, I don't want to say following the rules, but of modeling success. You really modeled success, took what you were taught, didn't try and reinvent the wheel, took what you were taught, followed the system, and found success. And I think so many of us will take what we're taught, and then we have the arrogance to think that we know better and go do our own thing and wonder why it doesn't work. I mean, I've done that certainly many times until I eventually got tired of failing and thought, okay, let me just try it the way it's designed. And that's when things started to take off for me. Wow.
And if I could, this is really the whole driver for Success University. So if I can share a little bit more on the vision.
Please do.
So, and this is, so many people get so caught up in monetary success. And what I found out, it was interesting, I had one day in my life, and this was the one day where I realized more than any other that money wasn't everything. And I had earned $250,000 in one day. And at the time, that was a lot of money. And so, it's a big day, right? So I go to the bank and I deposit $250,000, and my bank account is full, but
can you fill up a bank account?
Not full, but you know what I mean. It'll always take more, I think. But I felt very empty.
Yes.
And because at that point, I had been working only for financial success, and had physical success as well, but where I was really lacking was relationships. And it was at that moment where, that night, it was funny, I would have thought, before that, to make that much in a day, I'd want to go out and have a big party and celebrate, and the only thing I wanted to do is just go home and go to bed, because I was almost depressed. And so that's when, I kind of woke up to, wow, relationships. And so had been dating this amazing woman, but had kind of put her on the back burner because, I had to have this financial success, right? And so it's funny, once I shifted and created, deepened this relationship, and, when Rhonda and I, we, got married after that, and Rhonda's pregnant now, we're going to have a baby girl here soon in January, and I actually experienced a lot more financial success. Because of that, because I was balanced, I became whole, and I think people see that. They can tell if you're working just for money, they see that. And so what we want to get across is that Success University is not just about this financial vehicle. Yes, people get excited about making money, and what I found was I would always promote personal development. You got to come to this Tony Robbins seminar, or come to this seminar and that, and read this book and listen to this tape. So a lot of us have already been promoting personal development. We just haven't been paid for it.
To do so.
Yeah. So the monetary just kind of fits when you're out making a difference in people's lives. And so the vision is simple. We know through personal development, it opens people's hearts up. It creates love. It creates happiness. It creates peace. And so one of those factors in the vision for the world is to live in a world where every mother and father around the world is simply open enough to say something as simple as "I love you" to their child. Wow. And unfortunately, I remember being a 10-year-old boy. My father had a lot of challenges, was an alcoholic. He committed suicide when I was 13 years old, and that was one of the things that I realized is that if he had simply been exposed to the personal development industry, I think he'd probably be alive today if he had been surrounded around a community like Success University. Because, people commit suicide because they have no hope for the future. They don't think anything is going to get better. And, when you have hope for the future, there's power in the present, right? And so that was a factor, is to live in a world where the word suicide has to be taken out of the dictionary because it doesn't exist. And so that's part of the vision for Success University, is creating that world.
Wow.
And, where every mother and father can say "I love you" to their child. It's something very simple, and you would think would be, surely we can't be that far from a reality, but, we know from the work that we do that, there's so mmany people who grow up just never hearing it.
Totally.
And, to live in a world where there's no such thing, there's no concept of a lock on a door, because no one would, the theft doesn't exist either.
Burglar bars on the windows,
Exactly.
Yeah, totally.
And, where there's no racial bigotry, there's not, these hatred for, stupid things, tribal warfare, and all these things are just silly. And so and there's a lot more to it, but that's really the vision of Success University, is to live in a world where there's peace, where there's love, where we all get along, where, we're not caught in this so much internal turmoil that we have to end our life. And we're not naive enough to think, we're not saying we're going to go out and change the world overnight. We're not naive enough to think that'll happen in our lifetime or even our children's lifetime. But here's the thing, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. Right?
I totally get that.
And so I want to live my life, and most of the leaders who get so excited about Success University, they want to live their life being part of the solution, of at least moving towards making that a reality. And so our vision is really just to create a positive shift in the world.
Wow.
If we can make a tangible difference that we can look at the end of our life and say, wow, we've really shifted, even if it's a small shift, that's a vision that, I could be excited about living the rest of my life for.
I'm getting goosebumps, because you kind of got the components here of the ideal business. You've got a vision to make a difference and give back in the world. You've got a product that teaches people to create a better life, create more harmony in life and more success, and you've got an income opportunity for people to make money out of getting involved with what you're doing. It's extraordinary, and we kind of got to wrap this up because we're running out of time and it's getting dark and the light's going, but maybe we've got 2-3 more minutes. So firstly, I want to say to those of you watching, if you want to get involved with Matt's vision and Success University's vision of changing the world, educating yourself through personal development, and creating a very generous passive income along the way, click on the link that you'll see on the screen right now and go and check out Success University and what they're up to. As you can tell just from hearing Matt speak, this is the man with the vision behind the company, who's so authentic, so down to earth, has a real rags to riches story, and I'm really looking forward to becoming a better friend with you. It's just, you really inspire me, and I'm kind of like a bit of a tough nut to crack sometimes, because I've been on the personal development world so often, and you often see speakers and trainers who've almost become jaded by speaking for so long, and yet they're no longer walking the talk. And you're somebody who so walks the talk and has designed your life and are living this designer life. It's just extraordinary. So,
well, thank you, and I appreciate it. What excites me, what kind of, I always say juices me in life, is being surrounded with people like you who are out there making a difference. And you've been, you've harnessed this gift that you have with speaking and making a difference. And so I know you're doing that on a massive level, and that's something where I have just been fortunate and blessed to be surrounded by people like you.
Yeah.
And so I think the more we surround ourselves with opportunities to be close to someone like yourself, or other members in Success University and speakers, it just makes a huge difference. So honored to be friends with you.
Matt, thank you so much for taking the time. I hope you guys enjoyed this interview. Go check out Success University's website. It's on the screen right now, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Cheers, guys.